Living in stress is living in survival, and stress is when your brain and body are knocked out of homeostasis. Stress is when your brain and body are knocked out of balance. The stress response is what the body innately does to return itself back to balance. The problem is that if you keep turning on that fight or flight system, you keep turning on that emergency system, you'll actually cause people to stay out of balance, and that imbalance becomes the new balance, and they're headed for some type of disease, some type of breakdown. No organism can tolerate emergency mode for an extended period of time, and when you're in survival and that primitive system is switched on, it's really about the self. When you're in survival, you have to take care of yourself. So the emotions of anger and hostility and aggression and competition and frustration and resentment and envy and jealousy and insecurity and fear and anxiety and hopelessness and powerlessness and depression and pain and suffering, guilt and shame are all derived from the hormones of stress, and psychology calls them normal human states of consciousness. Those are altered states of consciousness. And when we're in that state, when we're living in survival, we experience separation. We divide in a lot of ways.
Well, a habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through repetition. A habit is when you've done something so many times that your body now knows how to do it better than your mind. So if you think about it, people wake up in the morning, they begin to think about their problems. Those problems are circuits of memories in the brain. Each one of those memories are connected to people and things at certain times and places. And if the brain is a record of the past, the moment they start their day, they're already thinking in the past. Each one of those memories has an emotion. Emotions are the end product of past experiences. So the moment they recall those memories of their problems, they all of a sudden feel unhappy, they feel sad, they feel pain. Now, how you think and how you feel creates your state of being. So the person's entire state of being when they start their day is in the past. So what does that mean? The familiar past will sooner or later be predictable future. So if you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, and you can't think greater than how you feel, or feelings have become the means of thinking, by very definition of emotions, you're thinking in the past. And for the most part, you're going to keep creating the same life. So then people grab their cell phone, they check their WhatsApp, they check their text, they check their emails, they check Facebook, they take a picture of their feet, they post it on Facebook, they tweet something, they do Instagram, they check the news, and now they feel really connected to everything that's known in their life. And then they go through a series of routine behaviors. They get out of bed on the same side, they go to the toilet, they get a cup of coffee, they take a shower, they get dressed, they drive to work the same way, they do the same things, they see the same people, they push the same emotional buttons, and that becomes the routine, and it becomes like a program. So now they've lost their free will to a program, and there's no unseen hand doing it to them. So when it comes time to change, the redundancy of that cycle becomes a subconscious program. So now 95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions that function like a computer program. So then a person can say with their 5% of their conscious mind, I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, I want to be free. But the body's on a whole different program. So then how do you begin to make those changes? Well, you have to get beyond the analytical mind, because what separates the conscious mind from the subconscious mind is the analytical mind. And that's where meditation comes in, because you can teach people through practice how to change their brainwaves, slow them down. And when they do that properly, they do enter the operating system where they can begin to make some really important changes.
How do you get people to understand that they are deserving of health and this, state of love and gratitude when they continue to convince themselves about the past and cannot see or believe in a future greater than their past?
You believe as if it's the truth. You behave as if it's the truth, and you've ultimately become it. That's the end of that person's emotional belief. I just want them to tell a different story. In fact, you can't tell me any longer that you've had a brutal past and you can't do this work. You can't tell me that. We've had some people with some really brutal pasts,
yes,
really, really difficult pasts. And we're talking about abuse, molestation, trauma, murder, veterans, Navy SEALs, people who've witnessed and seen really horrible things and had really horrible moments. And they had all kinds of health conditions. The trauma wasn't just in their brain, the trauma was in their body because it was the emotion that kept them in the past, right? And they couldn't get past that emotion. They tried everything, all the plant medicines, all the diets, everything. They just couldn't get past it. They just didn't know how to do it.
The memory. They couldn't get past the memory.
They just didn't understand why they were there and what to do to help them to get out, right? So many of these people that had brutal pasts also had really difficult health challenges. They had endometriosis, they had depression, they had night terrors, suicidal tendencies, blackouts, vertigo, ovarian cysts, all kinds of crazy things. And they did the work because nothing else was working. And many of them came to the point where they did their meditation every single day. Every day, they never missed a day because nothing else was working. They believed that this could work. They just didn't believe it could work for them.
Right.
So they were doing their meditations to actually believe, right? They had to change their emotional state, and they reached a point, and typically when they come to the week longs, because I stretch people a little further, They were already feeling a little better. They were already doing better, but they reached a point where they just thought, oh my God, this is the worst feeling I've ever had in my life. I don't think I'd go any further. And then they think, oh my God, I've never missed a day in my meditations. I can't give up on me now. And they go one more time. And the words that we hear over and over again is always the same. It's like my heart blew wide open. It was like my heart exploded. It was like my heart opened up all the way. I felt something move through my heart, and I felt more love than I felt my entire life. And they look back at their entire past, and they don't want to change one thing in their past because the feeling that they have, they realize that they had to go through all of that to get to the present moment, and that's the moment the past no longer exists. And they look at their betrayers, they look at their molesters, they look at the tyrants, and they have nothing but compassion and love for them. And the relationship changes with those people, and the moment their heart blows open, the body literally comes out of the past, because when energy makes it to the heart, it resets the baseline in the brain and the autonomic nervous system for trauma. It says it's over, and the body literally moves out of the past. And the side effect of that, there goes the depression, there goes the endometriosis, here goes the night terrors, and the person they don't want to change anything in their past.